Welcome back. It's day 12 of my 365-day challenge. And today I wanted to follow up on my day 9 video, which is the life purpose trap, why you don't need one to be fulfilled. I've been hearing from a lot of people this same question. Is there something wrong with me? Because they don't have a life purpose. They don't feel like they have one. And I can share that sentiment. I've asked myself the same question many years ago, decades ago. Is there something wrong with me? Because I look around and I see people seem like they're happy, seem like they know their purpose, and some of them did that I spoke with, and I asked people questions. They say, "Oh, I love what I do," and that to me sounds foreign. Even today, when somebody says, "I love what I do," there's a part of me. I mean, not like it used to hit me before, like 20 years ago or 25 years ago, but because there's some things now in life that I've learned I do enjoy more than others, and they're meaningful, etc. But back then, it used to really hit me when somebody says, "I love what I do." They look like they got it figured out. So I want to respond to this. When someone asks me, is there something wrong with me? And I thought the way I would do this is to go through to establish some background behind this historically, and to give you some key stats. So hopefully it'll make you feel better. It definitely helped me, because you're not alone. You're not the only one. And then I'd like to kind of share some of my thoughts. I've been doing some thinking about this. It's a whole question of purpose. And I think you're going to be interested. I think it's going to make you think a little bit differently about this. And we'll look at it from different points of view. And then I'll leave you with some few finishing remarks. I do want to ask you that if you find this useful, please subscribe, please like it, and share it. That's the least you can do. It costs you nothing. It really helps me. And at the very least, it's motivation and direction for me to continue to provide you with new videos about useful topics like this. Please do that. So let's get started. I just briefly looked online to see what's the historical presence or issue with purpose. Has this problem been around for a long time? And it has. So throughout history, humans have struggled with meaning and purpose. Like it's mentioned in ancient texts, both biblical or religious and philosophical, like Socrates, Seneca, Ecclesiastes. But the modern crisis of purpose is really distinct in its scale and intensity. So, and I'll tell you why. In the past, people inherited roles that defined their purpose, right? Through religion, family, class, or community. And life purpose was assigned, it wasn't chosen. So today, the traditional anchors that we used to have, they've been eroded. Like religious institutions and stable identities have lost their influence. And people have been left with unprecedented freedom, right? So many options, it seems, even if it may be more challenging or complex, but there are just so many more options. So, and we have little guidance. And people today are told, you can be anything, you can do anything. But at the same time, the work that's available out there doesn't provide a sense of identity. And this call to find your purpose, find your passion, it makes private what was once a collective endeavor. So it was interesting to see that. It's not a new human condition, but it's a modern one in its breadth and scope. So I'd like to share briefly several studies that were just really eye-opening. I had no idea the scale of this issue. So these are several studies and surveys where it was investigated how many people reported having no sense of life purpose or meaning. Look at these findings. In the United States, only about 25% of American adults report having a clear sense of purpose in life. 25%, implying that around 75% do not feel they have a clear purpose in life. Wow, that's crazy. That's a huge number. You can look this up online if you want, okay? So, and among millennials, age 18 to 36, in 2021, there was a survey that found 75% said they are struggling to find direction and purpose in life. I don't know if that's similar or same, but I'm just going to move on. There are things I didn't want to spend time on. I wanted to get this video out to you expeditiously, so you can just get online and find it. Find the source of these studies, okay? Look them up. There was a YouGov study in the UK that found that 26% of Britons say life does not have meaning. And the proportion was higher among men than women. Younger Britons say 30% said they see no meaning in life. A separate poll reported that 89% of young people in the UK, 16 to 29, believed their lives had no meaning or purpose. And there was a Harvard study that found that 58% of young adults said they had experienced little or no purpose in their lives in the previous month. You're not alone. I mean, that's a massive number of people, okay? So hopefully that should help you calm down a little bit and not feel so bad. You're not alone. I'd like to go through, at this point, some of the thoughts I had this morning. For these thoughts, I wasn't really doing any research or referencing anywhere, any source. I was just thinking about this whole issue of purpose. So, and the question that kept repeating in my mind, because I heard it so many times yesterday, is something wrong with me? And then to ask yourself that question, and others, you know, I mean, in the back of your head, when you think about others, if they were looking at you, observing you, they could say you're lazy, or worse, that you're useless, right? These are terrible thoughts to have, or even things to hear. So here's what I came up with. The only reason you're asking this question, is something wrong with me, is because of social pressure, whether it's real or it's perceived, right? It could be people in reality pressuring you, or you could just have that perception that, oh, people are thinking this. Social pressure. It's a social dynamic. And here's what I want you to think. Again, I didn't reference anywhere, I didn't do any research about this specific line of thought, but it was just so interesting. If no one was around you, this question would never be asked. Is something wrong with me? Or this life purpose thing? If no one was around you. So the question that followed from that for me is, then how can we address or alleviate this attendant social pressure? Some of it is real in your interactions with others, your proximity to others, and you may have dependents or people that you can use some kind of help from you, or you might imagine the possibility of future interactions and avoid them, and maybe isolate yourself even further. So it's this social dynamic. If you're alone on an island or just alone living in the woods alone, you wouldn't ask, what is my life purpose? You can ask for meaning. You would say, what does this all mean? Why am I here? But you wouldn't ask, what am I supposed to do here? What is the job I'm supposed to do? No, you would be surviving. You would be taking care of yourself. You'd be finding food. You'd be making shelter. You would just be living, experiencing, exploring, observing. You wouldn't say, what is it I'm supposed to do? It doesn't make, think about it. Think about it. I think if you give it some thought, you will arrive at the same conclusion. And then I started thinking about, well, this whole observed observer thing, right? Because the social dynamic implies that you're being observed, or you think you're being observed. So as long as there is an observer, I thought, you have a life purpose at some level, subjective or even impersonal or third party. If there is no observer, then it's fair to say there wouldn't exist any question of life purpose, except for the most curious thinkers among us, right? These philosophers or something. And I think in that circumstance, where you are alone, completely alone, a human being is living by themselves, completely alone, there's no other humans around, right? Deserted island in the woods or forest somewhere in the mountains. In that circumstance, if they stressed about having a life purpose, right? What am I supposed to doing with myself? I think you could say there may be something wrong with them. So look at that difference, that change there, this other extreme. I like doing this because it gives us some perspective. So how can the world, meaning the people around you, because look, almost the entire world not only doesn't care about you, most probably don't even know you exist. So how can they be satisfied if they don't see you doing anything? That's the next question. So if we know why we're asking this question, why we're stressed, why we have this problem, is something wrong with me, and the bad feelings associated with that, this social issue. So then how can we allay this socially triggered anxiety and make you feel better? So we notice that there's a social component to this quandary. How can we resolve it? How can we allay this anxiety and this issue? Well, you already know one way, right? It's the go-to method we all use. So we come up with a disingenuous answer. Most likely, or it can be, doesn't have to be, right? You could busy yourself with something and we can pretend that it's what we want to do for a day or a week, but let's just say, just for our discussion's sake today, it's a disingenuous answer. One we know to be fake or untrue, right? At some deep level. Even if you're gung-ho about something for a week or a month. Sorry, I haven't used that phrase in ages. I hope it's okay. So even if we appear to be making progress with what we tell people we're doing, right? We have this answer, something we used to do, something that seems cool or something exciting or solves that problem socially. So we come up with this answer, people ask, what are you doing? Or what are you up to? Oh, I'm working on this, or I'm doing that, right? I got a new business, I got a startup, I'm studying for this, I've got a certification coming, whatever it is. I'm working on this, I'm looking for this kind of work. So it alleviates the social anxiety, right? The pain or whatever it is that we would have felt from that social interaction. But it doesn't make us feel better completely, because now we have an inner conflict, one of like inauthenticity, because we don't believe it and we know why we're doing it. So it doesn't sit well, right? But it's better of two bad options. And I wanted to make a point here of someone who's just helping themselves, by the way. I don't know, let's see if it flows well with this or if it's a complete tangent. So if someone is just working to help themselves, right? They have a purpose, whatever work they're doing, but they're only helping themselves. So I considered it to be a neutral or zero-sum activity for the species. So that means if that person who has a stated purpose, is only helping themselves, were to disappear or not exist, there would be no cost whatsoever to the world. And in fact, there would be a surplus from the resources consumed and space occupied by that person. So at some deeper level, I think someone in this situation would also know or feel that. They are maintaining their place in the world, but no one else cares. And even if that someone is only, like their purpose is to support children or offspring or help their progeny, then it's a selfish endeavor, right? Because they're spreading their genes, helping to do that. So the world still wouldn't care. But if they help someone unrelated to them, who doesn't contribute to the generation of their genes or the continuity of that, it would so it would be selfish. It would not be a selfish. It would be selfless. It wouldn't be a selfish act. And if they didn't exist, it would come at a cost to civilization, to the world, however minimal. So I just thought that was a very interesting, right? So I mean, people can have a purpose, but probably doesn't help anyone else besides them. Okay, that's a tangent, but it's just an interesting thought. And all of these are thoughts, so hopefully it's useful discussion for you. And it's through these creative thoughts and ideas that we can find solutions and we can help each other. So, main point is, you figure something out to tell others and allay the social pressure or anxiety. And even any internal conflict that's attendant upon knowing it's not true, even with that, it's still the better option. So do it if you have to. We do it anyways, okay? It's not wrong. For a little bit, I'd like to go over why we feel the way we do. Like, what is this desire? Where does it come from? Like, these feelings. Why are so many of us, what is it, a quarter, a third, a half of the world? I don't know. I mean, look up the statistics. There's just so many people. Why do we need this? Why do we even have the desire to feel needed, to be useful? So the desire to be needed is an adaptive, deeply ingrained drive that involves our biology. This I got from somewhere, but it's a deeply ingrained drive that involves our biology, personality, and social world. Feeling useful nourishes our sense of self-worth, our connection with others, and meaning to life. Okay? So it's ingrained in our biology, our personality. And it has evolutionary roots because early humans helped by sharing food, caring for children, warning of danger. These activities increased the group's odds of survival. So over millennia, being useful became hardwired as a route of belonging and protection. So also, if you help someone your kin, it elevated your genetic interests indirectly. So usefulness became a strategy to propagate shared genes. Also, we have basic psychological needs. So demonstrating that you can make a difference, fix a problem, ease someone's burden, it satisfies our craving to effect change. And being needed forges stronger social bonds. You know, other people relying on you. You experience belonging, and it helps your mental health. And also choosing to help someone else affirms your sense of agency. There is more on the desire to feel needed, to be useful right now, okay? Sense of purpose and identity. Like especially in midlife, people want to leave a legacy. So raise children, mentor, contribute to the community, feeling useful, make someone feel that they have, their life has a meaning, direction, impact. And you'll hear a lot of philosophers talk about, want to find fulfillment by committing to larger causes, than us. There's also neurochemical rewards. When we have a purpose that involves helping others, and we do help others, it triggers a release of dopamine, right? Feel-good neurotransmitter, and oxytocin, the bonding hormone. So usefulness, it's literally rewarding at a biological level. So having, we identify or define purposes that provide utility for others. That's why purposes are phrased or framed in that way, in a way that provides utility to others. So that's actually really good, because today when I think of purpose, I try to frame it in a way that helps someone else. And because it helps someone else, it will allow us to provide for ourselves, right? So we help someone else, we think that, okay, if we need to make money, we can make money from that. And so we can provide for ourselves and those we care about. So, and then finally, there's this social reinforcement. Like from when we were children, we were praised by our primary caregivers, like good job, or teachers, or when we help, we do something good, we're told we've done a good job. So I want to now move to looking at life in two different ways, I was thinking, because I was just trying to really get to this idea of purpose from different angles. And so I thought first, I'll go through these really quickly. Life as a game and life as a simulation. And I'm going to talk a little bit about faith in God after that, and we'll be done. We'll wrap it up. So I thought about life as a game this morning in this context. So if we looked at life as a game, and we all have seen these types of games played on computers, right? Like Worlds, where we just go around and we discover aimlessly. So here are the things you can do. We can explore, we can build, we can destroy, we can communicate with other players. And we can find pleasure in consumption or getting things. And possibly there's so many things to do, so many options in a lot of these games, right? So there's tremendous optionality that just causes paralysis. So anyway, we're playing this life as a game. It's a world game. We can build, destroy, communicate, and find pleasurable things to do. So I thought that the game today has been made infinitely more complex now that we have so many players, and we have so much playing time that's been accrued or expended on this game, right? It's evolved so much. And the complexity is through the roof, and there's so many players. So imagine playing a game with just you can't see any empty space, it's just all players, and it's been played for forever. So what I came up with, what I thought is that exploring this world in this game would be severely constrained. Building has been made, so there's so many people, these areas are spoken for, they're they're off limits. So your ability to explore in this game is severely constrained. So you're not moving. You're basically not going anywhere. In a new game, you could just, right, move endlessly for hours. But in this game that I thought about, that emulates real world, real life that we have today, that human civilizations arrived at, you enter this game, you could barely move because all of the spaces are off limits. They're private. So you can't explore. I mean, it's limited, let's just say. Then building has been made so expensive. It's prohibitively expensive today, right? Land ownership, building materials, the cost of goods. It's prohibitively expensive. So you're in a game where you can't really build anything. You can't explore much. You can't build anything. Think of like these games like Roblox, right? So Roblox style games. Then destroying, because you know, if you're playing a game, you see building and you could knock it down or whatever, it's a fun thing to do, right? So you can destroy things. And in real life, you're in the wilderness, you chop down trees, whatever it is. You build something, you don't like it, you destroy it. A sandcastle, you destroy. So there is some entertainment or enjoyment in destroying things. So, but in the game, destroying has been made illegal. You can destroy nothing. You can vandalize nothing. So you can't even destroy. You can't explore. You can't build. You can't destroy. And communicating with others has been made dangerous, right? All of our problems, most of our problems in life today come from other people, our interactions with other people. And we are more disconnected today than ever. Our sense of community, of belonging is gone. And people are hostile to each other. So we don't communicate much with others. So think of that game. I know it's taken a few minutes for me to explain this to you, but that would be an awful game to play. And that is the world that we have created for ourselves today, the world that you live in, where you feel bad right now. And you're asking yourself, is there something wrong with you? When you could easily ask the question, is there something wrong with the world? Or is there a million things wrong with the world that we've created? Those would be better questions to ask. And then you'd put it into better perspective whether there's anything wrong with you. I mean, you really would question that. I doubt it, and there isn't. So that was life as a game. And then life as a simulation. I thought about that briefly. So if we could replay the evolution of human civilization over and over again, I think you would find it playing out in the same or similar way, right? Greed, selfishness, violence, aggression, enslavement. And then there are internal morals and values that we're born with or imbued with, recorded into our biology to help the species. And there are many among us today that are too self-interested at the expense of the species. So we would often end up here with new opportunities, but much more complex to achieve or to take advantage of. Like today, there are many more opportunities than there ever were, but they're not easy to take advantage of. You need advanced degrees. You need an interest in them. You need the mental capabilities to do them. You need to be at the right place at the right time. You need to be born in the right place. I mean, there are more opportunities, but I think they're out of reach for most people. So that's when I hear it online, it's laughable, or someone saying, oh, are you kidding me? There's more opportunities now than there ever was, or than our grandparents had. Well, maybe, yes, but they're probably infinitely more difficult to attain, or more costly, more time-consuming, less palatable, less enjoyable, whatever it is. There are too many players in a constrained or limited space. However you dice and slice this up. So I had some thoughts about Uh, these are disjointed thoughts here about, whether we ask for this at all, we ask to be here or not. When we ask about the question of life purpose, we create it for ourselves. We're not born with it. And so you're put here. You're placed in this predicament. There's so much you don't control. You don't control your genes. You don't control who you're born to. You don't control your environment, your childhood. I mean, you can argue you control more now than you did before, but your formative years, you didn't control much. There's so much you didn't control. So in a way, you can say that you were just given these cards. You were placed in this predicament. Even the way your brain works and the questions you ask yourself and the answers you come up with or don't come up with, right? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? And you feel bad and all this stuff. You can say that's all baked in. So I hope that you go easy on yourself. You don't go hard on yourself with this. Just be compassionate with yourself, okay? Not just because so many people share the same problem that we do, millions and millions, but because you were given these cards. You were given this hand to make the best out of it, not to constantly feel bad about the hand or be tough on yourself. So the last way I looked at this is in terms of God's purpose for you. If you believe in God, as I do, and He is your observer, believe whatever you want. Believe whatever you want. I'm just saying, if you believe in your Creator, and He is your observer, right? Then you must have a life purpose, even if you do not know what it is, right? Someone or something created you. There's a purpose for that. It wouldn't have been an accident. So even if you comment in jest that God or your Creator has forgotten about you, right? I hear this joke all the time, like God forgot about us. But it presupposes that at one point he gave some attention to you and your purpose was known. So I want to say that you are not lazy. I'm not lazy. We are not lazy. And if you're here watching this video, it's clear you're not lazy. You have taken action as an expression of concern and an action against laziness. You're also asking this question because you are willing to work, that you genuinely want, even desperately, to do something useful and helpful. But something inside of you may stop you from doing things that you don't like, that you don't want to do, things that don't interest you, right? We've all been through this. So you think, oh, I can do this. No, I don't like it. I don't want to do that. I feel uncomfortable doing this. Whatever it is, it could be a feeling, emotion, or it could just be a thought that dissuades you, discourages you from doing something. So I thought, does this internal dislike or not wanting to do something equate with God telling me to wait? And then I thought, how else would God communicate with me if He wanted me to wait? It wouldn't be audible. Then I would think something would be wrong with you. But maybe that's how God communicates with us. So sometimes we pray for God to give us a sign, to speak to us. But we hear nothing. We get no response, no feeling, no intuition, no thought. So, but maybe that's our indication that we should wait, or we could wait, right? Because you're asking to do something. You're not lazy. You want to work. You're asking for answers. You're praying but you're not getting a response. You could take it to mean as it's a time for you to wait. Be still and don't fret. So the Bible, by the way, and I'll just pick this out of numerous religious texts, the Bible clearly teaches that there are times and seasons where God calls us to wait, sometimes to prepare us for future usefulness, to align circumstances according to His wisdom. The Bible addresses the theme of waiting, being still, uncertainty, and work in numerous passages. These texts offer insight into why sometimes God calls people to wait, what it means to simply be. And you could refer to different religious texts, and you might, I found numerous religious texts had some coverage of this. So I just happened to be picking the Bible, and I won't quote any scripture, but because I really enjoy like reading through the Bible. There are verses that show that waiting is integral to faith, often serving as a period of preparation and growth. God may delay blessings or direction until a person is ready to receive them, using the waiting period to develop character or skills needed for the future. There are passages that affirm that there are divinely appointed times for both action and stillness. When you do not know what to do, Scripture encourages trust and patience rather than anxiety or frantic activity. So finally, I would add that you can help yourself during this time. Take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your emotions, be kind to yourself. Helping yourself is preparing yourself. So prepare yourself for the day and time where God, if you will, your Creator, or you get this intuition, this inclination, this thought, this idea, the motivation, the drive to do something. Prepare yourself. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. And if you can help someone else, do anything that helps someone else. Why not do it? It would be great, and it would make you feel better. You'd feel a lot better. So say and do whatever you need to say to allay this social anxiety or whatever it is, the pain or feelings that you feel there. Don't isolate yourself. Do not isolate yourself. Meet people, be around people, network with people, even if you don't have an aim. It's still good to be around others, converse with others. And I would say to explore and experiment, do things that are fun. If you can't think of anything fun, just get out there and explore. Find something that can be fun, enjoyable, a hobby, an activity, get with someone else and do something they think is fun. And it's okay to wait and be still and not have all of your questions answered. And no, nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. A third to half the world share your sentiment, and many of them are probably asking this same or similar question: is something wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with them in this regard. So if you found this video useful, please subscribe to my channel. It helps me a lot. And please like the video. And if you can share it with someone, maybe that's how you can help someone else. Share the video. Thank you so much.